Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. We're coming up to the 1 year anniversary of when I first coined the term the Peter Dislike Show. It has an interesting history, but there's also something that I haven't really been talking about here. First, the history. I'm a big fan of the Peter Schiff Show, which I affectionately call the Peter Shit Show. And the reason being that Peter Schiff obviously often talks shit about the U.S. economy. And and his opening theme sounds like the Peter Shit Show anyway. I had gone home to my family one Thanksgiving and turned on a Peter Shit Show at the dinner table, and I sang the tune with Peter Shit, and I screamed, "The Peter Shit Show," and my dad was so upset. And he became even more upset when I explained what the show was about. And he said that, it's not really a good time to be thinking about the shitty economy. And he said we didn't invite Peter Shit to come ruin Thanksgiving. Last year I was working at a very toxic job, and every day was like a shit show. I became very depressed. I'm glad I left that job. Had I continued working there today, I may have ran into major mental health problems. I was already on the verge of being institutionalized toward the end of it. I have a very good job at the moment, even though sometimes I give myself a little bit more pressure than I need to. And so I decided to call my show the Peter Shit Show, and I waved my middle finger at the screen, and I started getting a lot of dislikes. At first I was very upset at the dislikes. I have been YouTubing for many years now, and all of a sudden my channel starts getting hundreds and hundreds of dislikes. It was very upsetting. And then I thought to myself, somebody on YouTube has to be the most disliked person. What if it could be me? And I started asking for dislikes and calling my show the Peter Dislike Show, and often telling people to support by disliking. And I noticed something really interesting happened. Aside from getting more dislikes, now it became impossible to distinguish if people were actually supporting me by disliking or if it was actual dislikes, right? So by asking people for dislikes, it kind of neutralized the concept of getting a lot of dislikes and being upset by it, right? Imagine here's an analogy that I came up with. Imagine you go out with a girl and you tell the girl, if you really like me, why don't you break up with me to prove that you really like me, right? I wonder what would happen if you did that, right? Or imagine, right now we're talking about the potential of going into a recession. Imagine going to a performance review and sitting face to face with your boss and telling your boss, if you really like my performance, you can fire me to show your approval of my performance. Or imagine doing that. Now, if you then get fired, you won't know if it's because you asked for it or because you genuinely deserve to be fired. Right? I wonder what would happen if you said that at a performance review for real, and then you got fired. Could you then collect unemployment, or would it be like a resignation? It's hard to say, right? I wonder what would be the legalities of doing that, right? Or, speaking of legalities, let's imagine you got in trouble with the law, and you go in front of the judge, and you tell the judge that if you believe I'm innocent, you can sentence me to death to show your approval of my innocence. I'm suicidal anyway. If you believe in me, you can sentence me to death. And then you lose that trial when you really do get sentenced to death, right? It might make you feel better about it, right? I wonder what would be the legalities if you said that in front of a judge. You might be judged insane, obviously, so that's another matter. Anyway, that's kind of the reason why I asked for dislikes. It's that when I do get a lot of dislikes, it becomes impossible to tell if that's a like or a dislike, right? And when I get a lot of likes, that's good too, even though they might be dislikes in disguise, right? So please show your support by disliking this video. It's kind of a coping mechanism for me. Maybe the next time I want to quit a job where I feel like I'm at a toxic job anyway, I might play that game at a performance review, right? If you approve my performance, please fire me, right? Something like that. See what happens, right? It'll make me feel better when I get fired. This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum, 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.